You know, I can always tell a black man who grew up around a very mouthy auntie, a very overly mouthy mother. Because sometimes when I hear some black men, they are just rambling. They repeat the same sentence several times. They're not used to being heard. And it's incoherent. When I think about some women, they're smart, but they're just saying stuff for attention. And you're like, what? What is she talking about? And then she too repeats her sentences, rambles, blurts, just incoherent. But she want to talk all the time. And it's like, Jesus Christ. And everybody should have a chance to talk. But sometimes you're dealing with women who just their mouth is a weapon. Their mouth is a weapon. I was listening to a bunch of feminists, ex-feminists, and one of the things that they kept talking about is how when they were younger, they were just constantly popping off. And they thought constantly popping off and looking for battles and looking for war is what they were supposed to do. And one of the feminists said, you know, I realized that my first marriage is where I should have stayed. And she ended up getting to a second and a third marriage. So what's so crazy is, man, just the mouth of a woman. When I look at the elegant women who don't necessarily agree with me, but they're able to have a polite, balanced conversation, that's rare amongst women. Women nowadays just want to be weapons. And what's so funny is, and the same thing I say about the dudes who are real mouthy, a lot of the mouth weapons are only used at people who are close to them. They don't have the courage to go into enemy areas and use their mouth the same way. I like going into Asian spaces saying what I say. I like going into white spaces, sticking my chest out saying what I say. I like going into Russian spaces. Uh, I like it. But the amazing thing is, I noticed about some people in our black community, they only courage amongst us. They tend to be on mute when they got to go against the opposition. Think about that. That's why I say a lot of people are not the black pride people. A lot of people are the anything for a dollar people. And they'll say anything to get a couple of dollars. And the same thing is true when it's time to be intellectual or well read. A lot of people hate that. But you did that when you was on the streets. You was well read on ounces and pounds and quarters and kilos. But now all of a sudden you don't like being well read. Now all of a sudden being an owner or a manager is acting white. You was a shot caller on the street. My shot caller is the same thing. He's a manager. I just think there's a lot of self-destruction going on, man. We can blame these other cultures, but there's a lot of self-destruction that needs to be talked about. Because some people want to be part of the conversation, but they're not well read enough to be part of the conversation. They're the loudest people on the microphone.